Hello and welcome to the Webcomics Review. I'm Daniel, I'm here to talk about webcomics. This time, we're talking about using visual information to plant assumptions. I want to look what Mary Cagle and Oscar Vega do in Sleepless Domain to trick you into forming expectations that can then subvert. As always, this video will contain spoilers, this time up to the end of the second chapter of Sleepless Domain. If you haven't read Sleepless Domain, you may wish to give it a read and then come back. The first line of the comic is a flower-shaped speaker alerting everyone that all civilians should be inside their homes due to a curfew. This is a lot to set up the world, establishing that the city is under some form of martial law, and hinting that there's some kind of a threat that this is due to. The city presented as faceless, and this, plus the line, gives them an evil, villainous air. From here, we cut to Tessa. Tessa was in the center of the cover page, take up the most space. She's the first person we see in the comic, and just in case it's a little bit too subtle for you, she's introduced literally standing in a spotlight and surrounded by sparkles. The comic could not more blatantly tell you, this is the protagonist, this is the important character. This is furthered by the introduction of Team Alchemical, each of which has exactly one character trait on display. Undyne is meek, Sylvia is snooty, Sally is aggressive, and Gwen uses minimal dialogue. They are secondary characters with a single secondary character trait. Once the team is established, there's a group shot with Tessa front and center, a transformation sequence of the team where Tessa goes last and most prominently, followed by another group shot with Tessa in the primary position. Throughout the ensuing fight scene, Tessa is the only character that has more than one character trait on display. Undyne is always meek, Sally is always aggressive, but Tessa gets to make jokey comments about the vegan sandwich place, while also developing a subplot in which Sally won't listen to her orders because Sally is simply too aggressive. Tessa also gets the finishing blow of her own plan to fight the monster. During the fight, we see Sally and Sylvia use combination attacks, as do Undyne and Gwen. This kind of sets up an expectation that these combination attacks will be a recurring thing, and makes us curious to see the other combinations, especially the ones with Tessa, as her quintessence power isn't a standard elemental ability. The chapter ends with a narrator talking about how something vaguely bad would happen down the line. The color of the narration box is a pale purple, which doesn't quite match any of the characters, but it's closest to Tessa's pink, especially the shaded part of her hair. The narration ends next to the flower-shaped speaker that the chapter started on, which, in addition to being a nice bookend, connects the danger referred to in the narration box with the flower, and by extension, the city government. Chapter 2 opens with an introduction to Heartful Punch. We know this character is important because she was mentioned of the magazine from the cover page. She's introduced surrounded by adoring fans who are gushing about her incredible talents, which she brushes off with this kind of fake modesty and a vaguely douchey grin looking straight at us, the reader. She's also drawn from a slightly low angle to make her look imposing. This is the popular girl who's better than you at everything character, also known as a popular secondary villain. Skipping ahead a little, Chapter 2 establishes a storyline between Tessa and Sally, where Sally wants to be a leader and oops, she's dead. Tessa gives up her power to save Undyne, and the comic now follows her as the real protagonist with Heartful Punch. And while killing off half the cast in Chapter 2 is a pretty decent twist in any context, Sleepless Domain enhances the effect by careful use of blocking and genre conventions to lead you to expectations it can subvert. Thanks for watching. If you support the Webcomics Review, please check out our Patreon, and for more discussions of our comics, check out my website, thewebcomicsreview.com. See you next time.